There's people for everybody. You'll eventually connect with people and you'll say, I would rather work with this person than anybody else. And they're going to feel the same way. And so your ability to continue to deliver value to them by continually exposing them to new ideas that work, i.e. through, some of the scripts and the process that Wally has, it's invaluable. And if your passion is to be able to help people and to grow your business, you'll find your people. And then when that opportunity comes that you've practiced, drilled, and rehearsed so that you're ready to step up and knock it out of the park when that opportunity happens.
Hey guys, Wally Elibiary. All right, so what is 24/7 mindset? Most times when you hear 24/7, you're thinking what? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just grinding, hustling. I learned over time, a 24-year career in mortgage and multiple other businesses that I own is, unfortunately, you'll get burnt out. I became an absent father, I became an absent husband, and I became a poor business leader because I was trying to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, trying to build a business, maintain a business. When I learned how to work smarter, not just harder, by doing things the best way it could be done, instead of just simply doing my best, I learned how to work only 24 hours a week, 7 months a year, while I got paid from the business residually 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can do the same. Welcome to the show.
We are fully live. Hello, 24/7 Mindset community. Super excited about today. Alex Armstrong. What's super cool about Alex is he and I have been Facebook friends for quite a while. And he did something that I was really, really excited about. We were at the Ford event and we're checking out, I think, at some line, and he's like, "Are you Wally from 24/7 Mindset?" We started talking. We started he's been through the academy. I love success stories. I love when a loan officer has challenges. They do their own research. They figure out a new path. They're brave enough to walk down that path. And so today I invited Alex to the show. So thank you so much, Alex, for making time to join the show.
My pleasure, Wally.
Yeah, awesome. So silly question, but did you have any second thoughts of saying hi to me when we were in line, or was it like you thought about it, you did it?
There was a hesitation, and for anybody who if you bump into Wally, you should say hi. Wally is a big deal, and so there's a little bit of am I even allowed to talk to somebody who's doing over 100 mil plus? But I think. So talking to Wally was so refreshing, and it's a reminder of why I'm in this business, which is you can have success and still be humble and still be grateful and still be grounded. And so it was just confirmation that it was A, the right decision, and B, I'm glad I'm in this profession, because if there's people like Wally, that I'm in the right place.
Yeah, man,
that's what I'm aspiring to.
I was super excited that you cared enough to say hi. I think, I don't know if this makes any sense or not, but I get super duper lonely at a lot of the times, just simply because people feel like I am unapproachable, if that makes any sense. Like, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm just a regular dude that did a lot of loans. Really, it's it. So yeah. When you said hi, I had a smile from ear to ear. So I was super excited you cared enough to say hi. So thank you for that.
Yeah, it's funny because I suspected, I was like, Wally's probably even getting his steps, because where we stopped to get some food was not close to where the event was. It was a little bit of a walk. And so I was like, man, I need to get my blood pumping again, and I got to get in my steps. And if you follow Wally, you also know that he's religiously been on top of his step count for the last month at least. So
a little bit. Did you see that post that I made of me dropping that ball?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, which is, God.
Good for you for being accountable. The more you put it out there, the more you'll do what it takes to hit the numbers.
We just got back in town, and I got in bed at 10:15 or something, and I looked at my phone, I looked at my Whoop, and it was 6,200 steps. I'm like, dude, there's no way. And so I just went to bed, and I woke up next. I'm like, oh, you're such an idiot. You literally went 20 some odd days in a row. And I've walked through a rainstorm. I've walked through some serious bad weather. I'm like, this, I don't know. I think if I would have got up and got out of bed at 10:30 at night just to go for a walk, it might have been a little bit silly.
Yeah, well,
Let's
that's
start
it.
over.
It makes you human. It is possible.
Yeah, well, go, man. All right, so let's tell the world a little bit about you. So tell me, like, how long you've been in the business. You feel free to share your volume. Feel free not to share your volume. But I'd love to understand, where have you been? Where are you now? And where can we help you go?
Got it. So I'm newer-ish in this business. Everybody I talk to, it sounds like 10 years is kind of like the baseline for most people. And I got into this business only 5 years ago.
Okay.
And so I got in right on the tail of the refi boom. And at the time, I'm in the broker channel. And so I was focused obviously on being able to refinance, and everything was based off of ratios. What I had no concept of was realtor partners, referral partners, top of the funnel lead flow. And so when things started to dry up and rates started to go up really fast in March of whatever year it was, I'm trying to remember, but
2022.
22, I actually had a loan that I was sitting on, and I remember the borrowers were like, "Oh, should we lock this?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll lock it when I get to the office," and it had already gone up like 0.75%, and I was like, "What is going on?" So it was super eye-opening, and I don't think anybody was anticipating, the years that would follow. So it became clear that I had to build relationships with realtor partners or financial advisors or whatever the case was. And so there was a couple open houses that I kind of crashed. I made some connections, and I had a couple realtors that I talked to that were receptive. And it always takes longer than you think, right? There was great conversations. There wasn't a lot going on in the open houses, but there was a good opportunity to exchange ideas, and it was clear that we had similar ideas of how the business should be done, and they were frustrated with people dropping the ball. Fast forward to about almost 8 months later, there was a DSCR loan that somebody had botched, and so he just said, "Hey, can you take over? This is one of my biggest clients. This is somebody who's has 15 houses in a portfolio, and I need to look good. Is this something that you can do?" And I was all yeses. I had never done a DSCR loan before. But I can follow instructions, and I can ask a lot of questions, and I can do all that stuff. So it turned into a great relationship, and that became the first of a couple of realtors that have given me their business.
So when you started doing that, did you have success with the open houses, or was it, I think back in the day, this is where I'm envious of you people that have been in the business 5 to 10 years. I keep talking like I'm a caveman or something, like back in the day. But I remember when I got the mortgage business, I was 19 years old. It was 1999. And what I would do is I would door knock houses for cash out loans, or I would door knock apartments to get them to do first time home buyer programs and purchases. What was great about that is I'd also start going to open houses. And clearly I was all about hustle back then. There was not much working smarter, not harder. But I'd walk into an open house with a cooler of like Diet Cokes or sodas, and like a cooler in one hand and chocolate chip cookies in the other hand. And I'd ask the listing agent that's running the open house, "Hey, can I hang out here and help do pre-approvals, and great to meet you, and start relationships." I mean, it was super cool. It was like within probably 4 months of getting in the business, I think it was my 5th month, I did over $1 million in loans. And this is back in 1999. There's so much business to be had for a loan officer that's willing to do the things that other people are not willing to do. And I think that's where the challenge in our industry, someone thinks, "Oh, I'm going to put a Facebook ad up. I'm going to put up a funnel. I'm going to make a post." And it's so like this passive prospecting instead of like physical prospecting. So are you still at the stage where you're trying to do passive prospecting, or are you rolling up your sleeves and getting into the hustle of active prospecting?
So that's an interesting question. My conversion rate when I talk to people one-on-one is really, really high. And so after looking at that and making a huge amount of phone calls and having a bunch of people cancel Zoom meetings and all that kind of stuff, it just kind of felt like a treadmill. And I remember thinking, nobody ignores me when I'm in the room and when we're having a conversation. Open houses are slow. So why would I not just go back and meet people where they are there's not a lot of traffic in open houses. And at a minimum, I have a captive audience, and I can find out if there's a love connection and if there's something that's worth, I won't have to worry about them not showing up to a Zoom meeting that I know they don't really want to come to anyways. I'm in Utah, so things are getting a little bit warm right now. It's like 90, 100 degrees for the last month and a half. And so I showed up with Fiji waters that I'd been sitting in the fridge for the day before. And I would walk in and my opening line would be, everybody asks about the listing, nobody asks about the agent. And they would giggle, and we would just talk about like, what's the traffic look like in terms of your open house? How much have you seen price reductions? And immediately people they see that I have an understanding of how the business works, a little bit of my philosophy, and then we could chop it up and get into the details of like what's working for them, some ideas that I have for them, and what's an opportunity for us to connect on a people-to-people level, where if you're trying to make calls and trying to do something, that electric connection is effective for using things at scale, but it's easy for people to dodge the personal connection. And so if your ratio is better at converting in person, then that's probably not the best tool for you. And as much as I hate to give up Saturdays, if things are slow and the other thing isn't working, then you can pretend like you're doing something, but you're not. So you should probably just find a better way to connect with people.
Yeah. But I mean, also, I think that what you just said is really important. People should not gloss over it. I mean, I didn't want to give up Saturdays. Okay. You want to give up Tuesdays? You want to give up Thursdays? You want to give up Fridays? Like, pick some another day. I mean, I remember early in my career, like, well, I was younger, bachelor lifestyle, so I was always at the pool during the summer months, whatever, and I didn't want to give up Saturday. I'm like, okay, well, are there any open houses on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays? And sometimes you'd find open houses here in Dallas that were like, Tuesdays at 4 p.m. or Fridays at whatever p.m. And I'd start doing those open houses because I wanted to party and have fun and sit by the pool on the Saturdays. So
right.
It's a give and take aspect of it, but it's also the biggest thing I want everybody to kind of understand is newer in the business, you learn that you had to roll up your sleeves and put forth effort in areas that other people were not willing to. And if you can adopt that mindset, your career, I mean, 100 million, 200 million is going to be a breeze. But I think it's when I see loan officers not succeed and have challenges with that, the biggest challenge that I see is they're not willing to do what everybody else is not willing to do for a short period of time to be able to do everything that's not they're willing to do. And that's where I think it's like, I love that mindset you got.
Yeah. And if you listen to people, especially if you listen to producers that are pushing past like 50 million or up to 100, you're just going to have to burn through a period of time where you're going to have to do more work than you feel like. And I think, breaking free of that is no different than, getting married or being a parent. Like nobody tells you how much work it's going to be because you can't even understand it. And then you get in it and you start to see the price that will need to be paid. Yeah. And then you have to decide if you're going to pay that price, right? And that's going to come at the sacrifice of other things. And you can reclaim that back, but I don't know that you can do it without making some of those sacrifices. And so that's just kind of the reality of being able to move up the ladder.
There is I'm assuming you follow Alex Armstrong.
Love Hormozy.
I love Hormozy, like absolutely love Hormozy. I wish I'd go to his launch, and I think it's like a launch in a week or 2 weeks or so. But he does such a phenomenal job. But one thing that he was talking about was like the entrepreneur roller coaster, and how you got this optimism when you go into an opportunity and you're uneducated. Then you have the same optimism when then now you're educated how much work, how much heavy lifting it is. I think the challenge with loan officers is say they're doing 20 million, they see somebody doing 50 million, like, oh, I want to do that. Then once they realize like they're all the work it takes to go from 20 to 50 million, this unfortunately they're like, well, that's just too much work. Okay, then you got to accept only doing 20 million.
Right.
There was a great mentor of mine. His name is Brian Bomar. He's out of Oklahoma. And he was talking about a bodybuilder quote, and someone said, talk to bodybuilding, and he said that, hey, I don't want to be as big as you, talking to the bodybuilder. He goes, well, don't worry about it. You won't.
Right.
And the bodybuilder's point was that You won't sacrifice like I've sacrificed. You won't lift the heavy weights like I've lifted the heavy weights. You won't do the cardio like I've done the cardio. You won't do the meal prep like I've done the meal prep. You won't be diligent and get 7-8 hours sleep every night like I did. And I think that's where you've got to understand what you're getting into. And what I love about what you're talking about is when you know something is going to be hard, you're more prepared for it. And like, I mean, this morning I got up at 4:30, got a great workout in. That was like the number one hard thing I did this morning. Second thing, I went cold plunged. That was the second hard thing I did this morning. And like then I got to the office and I'm like, okay, cool. Like I said 2 super duper hard things. Whatever gets thrown at me today, it's going to be easier than what this morning was.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. All right. So tell me about, okay, we talked about where you've been. Let's take a few minutes talking about where you are now, and then we'll jump into where do you want to go.
Super. At the moment, the conversation that we'd had was additional partners. And so there's a financial advisor that I was introduced to on the tail end of an exit interview. There was somebody that I was involved with a purchase for. And so part of your system is asking questions about who do you have, right? Who's part of your financial team? And so a lot of people will say, I don't have a CPA or I don't have a financial advisor. Great. I have, opportunities for you to be able to connect with people that are good at what they do, just like me. They said, we have a guy that we love. His name is Benton. He is awesome. And so I said, great, I'd love to talk to Benton. And so I put that in the back of my mind. And I said, hey, when you get a chance, if you can give me a text interview, that was, also stealing from Wally's Playbook. A warm text thread is probably the best handoff because you establish the relationship. There's the warmth, the connection, and then there's the opportunity. Nobody's going to ghost you. And then you don't get stuck in this weird follow-up loop where nobody really wants to do anything. Yeah. So I was waiting for that. It didn't happen yet. And so I kept that in my back pocket. There was a purchase that I did with a couple. And part of the questions also, as you're interviewing people, usually in the initial loan consult, is when you're coming back with the numbers and the different scenarios, one of the questions is there a financial advisor you'd like me to share this information with? Which is a perfect setup to, we don't even have a financial advisor, or I have a financial advisor that's great. If you could pass that on, immediately you know that there's somebody that you can work in tandem with. It gives you credibility. And if your tech is good, then the way you're presenting that information is usually eye-catching to financial advisors, because that's also how they're laying out that information, and immediately there's a potential connection there. So they said, we have a financial advisor, we don't love them. And so I remember thinking, we'll come back to that. And so they didn't care if I had shared it with him, and so I didn't make the call. So fast forward to, we had closed on the house. It was a 7-day post-close interview, and I said, hey, I do have a financial advisor if you're interested. I know you guys have a lot going on, but we could revisit this later on. And they said, yeah, we're packing stuff up. There's a lot going on. I said, great, don't worry. We have a 30-day follow-up where we're going to cover a couple of other additional things, then we can get into the details there. So went to the 30-day. They said, you know what, we're not ready yet. And then we went a little bit further down the road, and we were teeing them up for a refinance because we had purchased when rates were not high. They had to buy their other home as a second home. So we knew that there was going to be an opportunity. So they did a recast, and then eventually we moved them into a refinance later. And I said, hey, I don't think you've connected with Benton yet, but I'm happy to do that. And mind you, I still hadn't spoke to this financial advisor yet. And they said, you know what, I think we would like that information. And so I was like, okay, now's the time. I have a referral, which means now I have attention. And so I connected with this borrower and said, hey, can you connect me with Benton? I have a referral that I'd love to be able to pass off. And it would be a great opportunity for that to happen. And so they did. I connected. We had they had a text introduction. I spoke to Benton, and he was very savvy. And so it was one of those things where I was like, this guy is good at what he does, and I think there's going to be a good connection there. And so I made the introduction, and I said, hey, this is a little bit about Benton. This is how he does things. You guys should probably have a conversation and see if there's opportunities there. Obviously, his presentation and his ability to do things, that's on his side of the table. But if I can give him an at bat, then that's an opportunity for him to be able to grow his business. And if there's a love connection, even better. So they came back and they're like, we love him. He's amazing. We would love to, we like that the connection that you gave us is the financial connection that was just like how you do loans for us. And so it allowed that ecosystem to slowly connect. And I went over to Benton's office and I said, hey, this is kind of how I do intros. And this was more like, now that we've established that I can help you get business, how would you like me to introduce you? What does your process look like? What are some of the cues that I should be listening for that would probably be good opportunities for me to share your information? So we went through that process, and he said, the realtor that I work with, when I bought my investment properties last year, she's the instructor for the largest team in Salt Lake City, which is the Perry Group. So Perry Group does 3 or 4 times the volume of the next biggest team in Salt Lake City. They do like 650 million in volume a year. So it's a massive team. And he said, I've done presentations for those guys. I'd love to be able to put you in the room and give you the opportunity to be able to get exposure to those guys, and we can see what happens. So that was the beginning of that relationship. And what's interesting is that same person who was the referral for this financial advisor, it's coming up on their 1 year, and they're in an opportunity where their rate was 7.625. As we know, rates have kind of come down a bit, and so they're getting ready, and a refinance is on the table. So it was the opportunity, and so I connected with the financial advisor and said, hey, I'm looking at this couple's information. What information do you need to make the assessment of whether it makes sense for them to move forward with that? And so we went through his process, and he had asked a couple things, and I said, and he was asking for closing costs. And so one of the other questions that he asked, which I thought was interesting, was, I said, do you normally back out the escrow refund for when people refinance? And he said, do I have to? And I said, well, that will affect what the cost of all of this is. He said, do we have to refund it? And the answer is no. We would just increase the loan amount and they could keep it. He said, because if there's a $6,000 ad, and we could use that elsewhere, I just want to know if that's an option. And I said, if you have a better financial vehicle for that, then for them to just sit on that money, then yeah, you could absolutely do that. And so what it means is that for the borrowers, now they have a strategy that's aligned with both their financial advisor and with their mortgage loan advisor, and they know that their money is being put in the most appropriate vehicle to move forward, and they're getting confirmation from 2 people on a financial team. So how much easier would that be for to be able to keep those people in my portfolio of loans under management if everything is all lined up? So that was another takeaway that I was really excited about. And he said, hey man, thank you so much for telling me this. I said, yeah, I didn't know I know you probably monitor rates, but there's probably a 3/4 of a point spread based on people's credit and loan to value and all that other stuff. He said, yeah, I'm actually having this sit down with them in a week and a half. So this is great information for me to be able to move forward and present to these information. So it may not be a refinance now, but in a couple of months, I'm sure we'll probably be looking at it. But it was another stamp of validation of, man, this is a great relationship, and I'm giving him tools that allow him to flex his knowledge and to be able to validate his value in front of them, which means why would you not work with somebody who's helping you allowed to demonstrate your value for clients?
You said you've been in business how many years?
Only 5 years.
Yeah. So you have more wisdom in 5 years than I got. I didn't learn everything you just said until probably year 17, year 18.
Yeah, but Wally, I stole it from your playbook. So it's not like I figured this out on my own.
Well, let's just tell everybody you figured it out on the own. You own this. But no, I mean, I think what's brilliant about that, Alex, is you've got yourself in a position that business is going to come to you so much easier than it ever has. For one simple thing, awareness. Now you're aware when you see an opportunity, where before, if someone said financial advisor or someone, you get say rewind a year ago or 2 years ago, you get a mortgage statement, you get an application, and it shows they've got $1 million in cash sitting in the checking, and like you would have never clicked, oh, I need to get you over to a financial advisor. Or if you would have seen a term policy for life insurance, like, oh, it never would have clicked with you. Hey, I need to move this. I need to refer you to life insurance or a financial advisor that can do whole life insurance. And I think the ability to be able to understand now that you're aware of it, and I love how brave you are bringing it to action. You're just going to implement.
Right. And on top of that, now I have in my back pocket, when people say, well, how does this work? I have a story where I can demonstrate the value, and they're like, man, in the back of their head, everybody's is about what's in it for me.
Yeah.
And so if I can demonstrate, I would love to be able to give you the tools to be able to flex your ability to be valuable for your clients. And this is how I present it from other people. If you would like different information, I can get it to you, but this is what I would like to do for you. And so if there's no cost and there's only additional ways for them to cement their value and keep their assets under management, then it's a win for them, and it's an easier sell. And I have more confidence every time I talk to another financial advisor.
Well, also, I think that one of my favorite things about this is now you've got self-assurance and self-confidence. What I mean by that is it's one thing about reading a book and be like, hey, okay, this Wally guy says do blah, 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 or being in the academy or taking a course and you receiving the content. But now you've got real life experience that this stuff actually works. The 6-lane highway works. The client concierge post-closing process works. The 5th page of the 1003 works. And what's great about that is you learning that how to flex that muscle at year 5. I mean, where you're going to be year 7 and year 10 and beyond from there is just going to be amazing.
Hope so.
Yeah. But I mean, what's great about that is you're getting to learn how to work smarter, not harder in year 5, where I didn't learn that until year 17-ish. So what's great about that is you should continue down that path. Continue to stay curious. Continue to stay humbly optimistic of what could possibly happen. And I've opened 4 doors for you with the CPAs, financial advisors, family will attorneys, and insurance agents. You can open doors for yourself that are roofers, landscape companies, bakers, dress designers, or whatever, whoever's got a database. And I mean, all at a 24/7 mindset community loan officer reached out to me and he goes, dude, I adopted a wedding planner's database. Like, you did what?
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, a wedding planner's database. They go to a wedding show and they own some bridal shops. And I'm like, that's freaking brilliant. And he goes, his response is that, what do you do after you get married? Like,
probably going to buy a house.
Buy a house, right?
A different house, or sell your old house, or something.
Yeah, something with a house in the next year to 2 years. And I thought that was super brilliant. Okay, he took the model of adopting databases to grow your 6-lane highway, and he turned into a 7-lane highway and added wedding planners.
Right. And it's probably an open lane because nobody's been approached by a mortgage loan officer with any of those ideas.
Who do you know that has a niche to focus on wedding planners? Exactly. I know.
Right?
I know. Another loan officer took this niche and he started focusing on divorce attorneys. There's so much opportunity you have out there, but whatever you're passionate about, right? So whatever your hobbies are, like what do you do for fun and like sports wise?
I usually race bikes and lose, but I like to ride both road bikes and mountain bikes. That's pretty big.
That was gonna be my guess. I think that's what I've seen on social. All right. So when you do that, is that a part of a club? Is that part of an association you're part of, or do you just go freelance and ride on your own?
It's probably a combination of a couple things. So I used to be a coach on a high school mountain bike team. The teams in Utah are really big. There was 200 kids. We capped it. Like, it was, our high school team was 200 kids. And so the league in Utah for that type of stuff is like I think it's like 45,000 kids, which, if you can imagine how many families that is, and then ancillary, people and that kind of stuff. So there's part of that group, which I was a part of. And then I was also involved with a local mountain bike shop. Yeah. So it was just, miscellaneous people that were there.
I mean, think of that database. right?
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I'm like, man, I need to get back into ride leading so I can just be in front of people.
Yeah.
Just because if your life is interesting, people usually say, hey, what do you actually do
Yeah.
though? Like, you're pretty fast on a bike. What do you do? How do you make money so that you can spend your time doing this stuff?
I mean, my favorite thing to say when someone asks that is, I sell money for a living. And like, you sell money for a living? I'm like, yeah, I'm a mortgage loan officer that helps provide a roof over a family's heads for financing. And like, oh, okay, yeah, got it. So
Yeah.
you always want that elevator pitch. Yeah, I sell money for a living. And it gets them pretty intrigued. A quick little elevator pitch.
Yeah, whatever it takes to get people to lean in.
All right. So talk to me about where are we going? So what's some let's see how brave you are. What's a big goal that you want to accomplish that you're absolutely like terrified of accomplishing? Like shaking in your boots, terrified.
It's definitely volume numbers. The market that I'm in is pretty challenging. There's houses that are moving, but the loan amounts are big, and the transaction amount is pretty low. But as you know, people are buying and selling houses all the time, so it's just a question of how much market share do I have. So for me, it's probably close to like 40 units. My loan sizes are generally between like 600,000 on average.
Yeah.
So the loan amounts are a little bit larger and the transactions move a little bit slower. But I feel like I've owned a business in the past, and so I feel like I'm probably more in the Gen X space. And even though I should probably cast a wide net, I think most people are going to be somewhere between 40 and 50. As we all know, the average age of homeowners and first-time homebuyers has gone up significantly.
Drastically, yeah. So you're saying average sales price 600,000. You said 40 fundings?
No, that's loan amount.
Loan amount. So about 24 million is the goal.
Yeah, 25 million is kind of what I'm shooting for right now.
Okay. So, and what did you do last year?
Last year it was 8.8.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna almost 3 to 4x. What's our game plan of how to bring that to life?
Right now, it's just connecting with realtor partners. And as I think about it, I'm like, man, I should probably I should have a lot more at-bats with financial advisors. I do have a insurance person that has a 4,600 person database, and I've been knocking on that door for a minute. Obviously, annexing somebody's database and getting exposure by inserting myself into somebody else's process is the most preferable and probably the fastest way to do that. But he's been a little bit resistant in terms of doing, because I have the HomeBot piece on the tech stack side. So the side-by-side videos with him is kind of what I've pitched so far. And I think he's been cautious, probably to see how long I'm going to stick around. But it's been a year and a half that we've had a relationship for, so I feel like I'm not afraid to keep asking and maybe change up my offer a couple of times to see if something, even if we do a sample size of 50 or 100 people or 1,000 people.
What do you know about his goals?
I don't know a lot. That's a good question, and probably one I should.
I mean, look at our conversation we just had. I'm figuring out, where have you been? Where are you now? Where do you want to go? And my role for the next 15, 20, 30 minutes is I'm going to wow you with ideas that are going to help you get to where you want to go. Then that's going to grow our bond together. And, silly to say, but after we get off this call, you're going to feel like you owe me. You're going to feel like you made a deposit in me. And at the end of the day, like, then our relationship grows. So the whole point of it is, how do you do the same thing with your referral partners? How do you do the same thing with an insurance agent? If you don't know their goals or where do they want to go or what's their biggest challenge, then it's very difficult to add enough value that for you to stand out. Do you know the 3.5 most powerful questions?
No, I don't. Not by memory.
I got it. So there's a great mentor. His name is Michael Mayer. He wrote the book 7 Levels of Communication. Phenomenal book. And what Michael taught me was this 3.5 most powerful questions. And that's how every conversation goes. If you rewind the first times you and I ever connected, this is how our conversation went. So Alex, tell me a little bit about your world. What's your biggest challenge in your business today? Question number 1, what is the biggest challenge in your business today? Question number 2, what have you tried to do to solve ABC biggest challenge in your business today? What have you tried to do to solve ABC biggest challenges in your business today? Question number 3, What are you going to try next? And the 3.5 is the buy when. So it's not an interrogation, it's a conversation. So you're having this conversation and you're going through that flow with them. That's a great way for me to find out where their biggest challenges in their business today. What have they tried so I don't recommend already what they've already tried? And what are they going to try next? A lot of the times, I don't know. So you never get to the buy when. What's great about that is now you've got the tools to find out where their biggest gap in their business is today. And then it's your responsibility. What I always say at the end of that meeting is that, hey, I don't want to verbally throw up on you. And I don't want to give you ideas that it's just me throwing stuff against the wall. There's three people I can think of that have probably experienced your biggest challenge in your business today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go reach out to them and find out what did they do to solve ABC challenge in their business. Then I can come back and I can report back to you to give you ideas that are factually proven. Is Tuesday next week better for you? Is Thursday next week better for you?
That is so good, Wally.
And all I'm doing, dude, you guys are young whippersnappers. You can go to ChatGPT to pull up stuff from there. I used to go to Google. I'd go to YouTube and just research. And then a lot of times where if it's a real estate person that's on that or a YouTuber that's on that or the Google search is on that, I'd pick up the phone and call that person. I mean, there's no big real estate influencer, big real estate coach that doesn't have the phone number out there. And I'd say, hey, let's watch ABC reel that you had or long form video. One of my partners has the same challenge you're talking about. I'd love to understand what are the top 3 steps that you did to be able to bring that to life. I'd go take that back and I'd go back to the realtor I'm prospecting to and say, hey, see, blah, 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 Alex Armstrong, or see whoever it was that I picked up the phone, I reached out to him. And what's great, he gave me this. He told me these are the top 3 things you need to do to solve this biggest problem. And by the way, here's his name, number, and email address if you want to reach out to him. So, is that a good differentiator between me and other loan officers in front of that realtor?
It's phenomenal because you're connecting people with people that could potentially help. And in a world where information is free and they could do that themselves, the value is being able to connect with somebody who's actually done it and can say, I've tried these things, they don't work, but here's the 1 or 2 things. And the way you do it, you could do this. Hey, if you want to work together, I'll help you out. Like anybody that's invaluable.
Yeah. No, I think I'll do the same thing with a financial advisor. I'll do the same thing with a CPA. I'll do the same thing with a loan officer. I'll do the same thing with my kids. At the end of the day, if you can learn to speak that way, you always stay curious, you always stay humble, and you always go. Have you ever read the book, The Go-Giver?
Yes.
Oh, no. Phenomenal book, right? So you're always in a giving mindset. And if you're a giver that gives to another giver, the relationship is bananas. If you're a giver that gives another taker, you realize really quickly that you need to get out of that relationship.
Which is part of what's helpful about this. What's interesting about the whole process is that when you see it that way from the partners that you have, you can also say, man, it's time for me to move to something else because right now there's not reciprocity there. And there's so many people that just give mindlessly because they don't even realize what they're giving people is valuable. And that was probably one of the biggest takeaways I had from your whole piece after I absorbed it all, which is being mindful of the value that you give to other people. And then also being mindful enough about the dollar amount and how it's helping their business and making sure that they understand that you're a contributor to their success. And each conversation that you have with your partners, there's a friendship and there's everything else, but it's also, this is my financial contribution to getting you closer to your goals. And if people don't jive with that, then they're probably not the people that you should be helping because they're not going to be aligned to help you do the same thing with your business. And just being mindful of that is already something that's completely different from how you see most of this industry.
Yeah. But it also, what's great about that is the mutual accountability and the mutual respect. So remember in the book or remember in the academy, we talk about the Friday calls to your wealth partners, right? And that is literally the number 1 call that most loan officers skip. It's not because they don't know what to say. It's because they're too afraid of what to say. So if you're a financial advisor, the demonstration of the Friday call is, hey, Alex, it's Wally with Aspire Mortgage. I wanted to connect with you. Last Tuesday, I referred you the Smiths, And Wednesday, I referred you to the Johnsons. Were you able to get a hold of both of them?
I got the Smiths, yes. The Johnsons, not yet.
Okay, awesome. Well, catch me up to speed with the Smiths. Did they set an appointment with you, or are they going with you? What's the latest and greatest there?
Yeah, they set an appointment. I had a conversation with them. It sounds like they're going to be moving forward. I'm just waiting for them to onboard.
Awesome, very good. So for me to understand and learn what kind of value I'm able to kind of provide you, talk to me a little bit about what did they decide to get? Was it life insurance? Did they move over their annuities? Blah, blah, blah. Whatever you say back. Okay, great. So I remember from our discovery call in the beginning, you said your average value, dollar value per client is $9,000. Is that, do you feel like they're above average, below average, or around the average number? They tell you, yes, it's within the average. Okay, great. So now I know I spent a $9,000 deposit in your pocketbook. Then let's go to the Johnsons. Okay, so you've not been to go hold the Johnsons. I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to call the Johnsons. I'm going to make sure the Johnsons get a hold of you because you want to make sure your referrals land, right?
Right.
Yeah. So if we're going down that path, what you want to also look at is like, okay, so the second half of that conversation is, okay, so we're able to land $9,000 in profitability to you from the Smiths. Now, with that being said, I haven't got any referrals from you all week and also last week. Can you coach me, Alex? Is there something I'm doing wrong, or is there an area that I can improve so I can earn a referral from you just like you've earned a referral from me? Like, who's going to bash you with that?
Yeah, it's almost like, no. I'm working on trying to, there's going to be a little bit of backpedaling of, no, we're good. I just don't have anybody for you at the moment.
Yeah. Then you're going to get off the phone. If you're a taker, you'll move on with your day. If you're a giver, then you're going to go find me somebody.
Or sit back in your chair and say, man, are there any missed opportunities I've had with the conversations I've had right now? And at a minimum, you have somebody who's activating their RTA to go find you somebody.
Exactly. And I think what's great about that is you do that again the following Friday. You do that again the following Friday. And you do that 2-3 times in a row. And if they've not given you somebody, they're obviously a taker, or they obviously don't have anybody to give you. Either way, you've got to move on to somebody else that you feel can be a good reciprocal referral partner. Then you never get taken advantage of.
Right.
Good. All right. So let's keep talking about where do you want to go. So the goal is to try to get to 24 million. I'm assuming that's 2026.
I mean, I'm in it right now. I'm about halfway there, so I'm kind of like, let's keep this going.
Okay, so you're on track of that 24 million for 2025.
I'm a little behind, but it's still there, and so I mean, everything is asymmetrical in this business, right?
Yeah.
Like things can happen really fast, and there's usually a rush in the last 2 months for things to happen.
Yeah, we get a small refi boom in Q4, everybody's going to exceed their goals, right?
Right, exactly. So
for sure. We'll go. Well, tell me a little bit then about wealth partners. So you've got your big time whale of the realtor group that you're going after. How are you infiltrating that realtor group, the biggest team in town?
So that one has been on a drip mostly for social media pieces. There's the senior broker in my office has also been doing the same. And so we've been continually trying to knock on that door. So that's kind of like the biggest piece. The conversation I had with that financial advisor that said, let me get you in the door in terms of presentation, that happened a week and a half ago. Okay. So there's probably, and I actually just spoke to him yesterday with that refinance conversation back and forth. So there's probably another follow-up that I'll need to do on Friday and kind of get into the, basically to see if there's when his next opportunity to be at that office would be, and then say, or connect with his, whoever his training partner is over there to see if I can get an at bat for something else.
Great. I love it. I mean, I think the biggest thing we've got to look at there is consistently getting in front of them. And you talked about the drip campaign. How can you physically get in front of them? What opportunities do you see that you can physically get in front of them?
I mean, that doing a presentation for them at the same time he would do would be ideal. I know they do have trainings. I mean, there's a lot of bodies on that team. And so I'm pretty sure that's something that happens probably 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
So the question is, can I get an invite to be able to be one of those people?
Have you ever read the book Exactly What to Say?
I've read it and I reference pieces of it. It's one of those where you kind of got to keep reviewing your process and finding out if there's questions that you could fit into different parts of your presentation. Because for me, I still gotta like integrate one thing at a time and then use it a couple times before I can move on to the next thing.
Yeah. So do me a favor after we hang up, shoot me an email and ask me for the scripts for exactly what to say for open houses. So what we've done with 24/7 Mindset and then our mortgage company, Aspire Mortgage Advisors, is I've got a teammate named Caleb. Caleb and I both read the book Exactly What to Say. Then we also read the book Exactly What to Say for Real Estate Agents. Then we went to the Exactly What to Say certification with Todd Bookspan and Deborah Burt. Got certified for that to be able to teach it. So what we do is now we teach our realtors. So it's a couple of loan officers we have at my company. They're having a ton of success with it right now. That they took Exactly What to Say for Real Estate Agents, the book, and they're giving that as a gift to a realtor. And they're saying, "Hey, I've read this book. I absolutely loved it. I think it'll do wonders for your business. What I'd love to do if you can read it. It's a short read, maybe 150 pages. Read it." But then I just attended a mastermind and I've got the Exactly What to Say scripts for specifically open houses. I would love to get together with you and we can role play back and forth and I can help you increase your conversion rate with open houses so you can grow your income from there. So we when we started doing that probably a year and a half, 2 years ago, the realtor businesses went through the roof because they want a higher conversion rate. They don't necessarily they don't want you don't have a lead flow problem, you got a conversion problem, right? They have enough leads, they have enough at bats, but their conversion rate's so low because of the lack of their verbal strength. What's brilliant about Exactly What to Say is it makes it really super duper easy to have a lot of verbal strength.
In terms of how you decide who to approach with those, do you have like a qualifier in terms of how many doors they're doing on average? How do you?
I have a handful of qualifiers. So qualifier number one is my Saturday afternoon golf rule, meaning that if I'm sitting on the couch Saturday afternoon and I'm watching TV and I'm watching golf, it's only really Golf Channel is the only channel I watch really. I'm watching golf, and if a realtor calls me, do I pause the TV and take the call, or do I send them the voicemail? If I send them the voicemail, I don't even prospect them. I'm too late in my career to ever want to work with somebody I don't want to work with. So if I pause the TV, then clearly that I feel like I've got a relationship with them. What's cool about that is it's so much easier to do life with someone that you feel you got a relationship with and you got a bond. So that's number one thing I look for. Number two thing is there's local title companies. I'm sure the same thing in Utah. Local title companies that can pull reports. Who's the top 100 agents in your city or 200 agents in your city. So we do that for every county around us. And where we are, there's, I don't know, 6 counties within like a 5-mile radius. So when we pull that and we pull all 6 counties, we're going through and we're picking who the top, so out of the top 25 agents in each county, who has the most amount of buyer deals and least amount of seller deals. So they're buyer centric, buyer focused. And then that tells me that there's enough meat on the bone. I'm gonna want to be able to want to do life with them, and I'm willing to pause my golf channel to be able to talk to them. So it'll make it easier to be able to bond, and there's enough meat on the bone. So I come to them, and I think a lot of advantages that I have that I've been able to build is Caleb with the scripting, but you can do the same thing that Caleb does with it once you email me the scripting. But then another advantage that I have has worked really well for me and the other loan officers at Aspire is that we've got the client concierge department right here in our office in Dallas, Texas. So they do the 7-day call for all the loan officers post-closing. They do the 30-day call for all the loan officers post-closing. They call the borrower on the 6-month call and they schedule for the loan officer on the calendar. They schedule for the loan officer the annual mortgage review. And every year after the mortgage efficiency checkup call. But what we started doing earlier this year, and it's been a phenomenal tool, is now we're calling our realtors' databases and scheduling annual real estate reviews for them on their calendar. That's been bananas.
You're the concierge department of that real estate team?
Yeah. So, I mean, simple question. Why would they ever fire me? Like, good luck anybody else stealing them, because I'm setting appointments on their calendar that they're making tens of thousands of dollars in commissions for. And also I've got access to their database. Like I'd have to like slap one of their kids or something to ever get fired. And they probably might still look the other way. But when you can learn as a loan officer to put money in your realtor's pocket, it's a complete game changer. But unfortunately, 99.999% of loan officers are addition loan officers, and they just receive business, and they don't know how to generate referrals.
And do you, in terms of how you decide on the scripting for that, is that something that you run that past your realtor partners and say, hey, this is how I'm going to present this? Are there any tweaks that you want me to make to this?
You mean when we're calling the script that the client concierge members are calling their database?
Realtor databases,
Yeah.
yes.
So we have an onboarding process. They'll come in, and they will usually release their database via like an Excel form, and then we bring in client concierge team, and then they role play with them, and they also provide them the handwritten script. So now
Oh,
they hear it. They also will pull all our call. We're in Texas, so you can record your calls. All our calls are recorded. So they hear the recording, they do a live scripting, and during the onboarding process, they walk away with a hand script. And the CRM that we help connect with them, every call that our client concierge member is calling their database is also recorded, so they can see with every single call if they got curious and wanted to listen to a call.
got it. So they can hear the value from, and then also be aware of what could be, like the opportunities that you have by setting those calls up then.
Yeah, absolutely. So 2025, the biggest goal was to really master the realtor annual real estate reviews. And then 2026, I'm going to take that to CPAs and start doing the same thing with CPAs. In 2027, it'll be financial advisors. And the goal of it is, hey, how do I, my database is about 28,000 households. Only about 4,000 are my past clients. The additional 24,000 are my CPAs database, financial advisors database, family will attorneys databases, insurance agents databases, my builders databases. So, but I've adopted those over the years, and now I market to them. I mean, imagine you have 28,000 households in your home bot. It's pretty darn easy to do $100 million in loans. Yeah. Imagine I have 28,000 households in your sales boomerang. It's pretty darn easy to do $100 million. I mean, the triggers alone of clients raising their hand, it's so much easier to do more business. But then you bring that kind of firepower through your technology stack for your current realtors, your current financial advisors, your current CPAs, your current wealth partners. It's such a great, easy multiplier effect that I'm excited for you to hit that 24 million this year. But I'm excited where you're going to be like 3 to 5 years from now, once you learn the database adoption aspect of it.
Yeah, I love that, and this is new for me also. So, man, Wally, talking to you is always super exciting because it just reminds you of you're only 3 or 4 steps away. Those steps are always going to take longer than you think, and You're probably going to have to get better at a couple conversations than you think you did.
Yep.
But you just need to continue doing that, and eventually it connects.
Yeah. I love talking about this. If you want to talk about like sports or something, I would know absolutely nothing.
We're in the same department there.
So it's funny how like awkward small talk is. But yeah, anything that's like business or I love the mechanical engineer part of business and understanding how to dissect a really big problem, the multiple small steps, and who the players need to be to bring the steps to life. Like I absolutely love that.
Yeah, my gift that over 25 years in business has been able to help people see how this tool can leverage this result.
Yep.
And that is, you do that with conversations, with relationships, and a tech stack. And so it's hard for me to not geek out over that stuff.
I love it. All right. So we got about 1 minute left. I'm going to give you the closing thoughts. And what I want you to share your closing thoughts as, there's a lot of loan officers out there struggling. I mean, it's one of the hardest years we've ever had in our whole entire industry. And you're going from, what do you say, like 8 million in 23 to almost 20, you're on your way to do 24 million and at least over 20 million. I mean, you've more than doubled in 12 months on the way. Obviously, you're going to finish strong, but like, why should they not quit? Why, like, how can they be the next Alex?
Well, I don't know if they're going to be the next me, but what I can say is, the transactions are happening. And so if you can just, like, this is a people business. And so all you need to do, there's people for everybody, right? And so you just have to find a way to get in front of the people that you connect with. And they could be weird or quirky, but you're going to find your people. But you have to be comfortable with who that is. And you have to continually have at-bats to be able to find those people. And so to be able to using this process to systematically select and filter your people, you'll eventually connect with people and you'll say, I would rather work with this person than anybody else. And they're going to feel the same way. And so your ability to continue to deliver value to them by continually exposing them to new ideas that work, i.e. through, some of the scripts and the process that Wally has, like it's invaluable. And if your passion is to be able to help people and to grow your business, you'll find your people. The opportunities are there. It's just a question of getting in, connecting with the right people. And then when that opportunity comes that you've practiced, drilled, and rehearsed so that you're ready to step up and knock it out of the park when that opportunity happens.
We went to the Ford event. One thing that Neil said, which I thought was brilliant, was it was something along the lines of, and I'm probably going to butcher it, is how much you prepare shows how much you care. How much you prepare shows how much you care. And that's been rattling around in my brain. And it's like, and it reminded me of a Joe Montana quote. So I know a little bit about sports. It was a Joe Montana quote, and he said that I practice 8 to 9 hours a day for 6 days a week for 45 minutes of playing time on Sunday. I practice 8 to 9 hours a day for 6 days a week for 45 minutes of playing time on Sunday. And when you look through those lenses, how much scripting practice do we do before we get on the call and do a lead to app with a client? How much scripting practice do we do before we go meet a realtor for lunch or go try to do an open house? And I think what the biggest thing that's really helped me in my career is looking through those lenses. You practice for 6 to 8 hours a day for 45 minutes of game time on Sunday. And if you look at that and you do the legwork and you improve, it makes it so much easier to be successful, because loan officers struggle on adding value because they're not valuable. You've got to be able to be valuable to be able to add value.
Absolutely. My son is a Patriots fan, and I actually grew up on the East Coast for a while. And so I paid a little bit of attention, but Tom Brady was a bench warmer for a long time, and they would not let him play. And so he actually went to a coach, and he was bitter about things like a conditioning coach. Yeah. And he said, I only get like 3 downs of practice, and then they put me back on the bench. And this is eventually became, who probably one of the quarterbacks of all time. And they said, if you only have 3 downs to be able to practice, then they better be spectacular. And so he went at it with a huge amount of focus and practice, and he played those downs like they were the Super Bowl. Yeah. And it's always ridiculous when you see people doing that, because they're like, that's a try hard. Why is he doing that? But I've, even on social media stuff, I've had to practice my scripting, and I'm like, look, I got 25 minutes to drive to the office. Why would I wait to get to the office to have these conversations when I can practice them in the car by myself? And I look like a lunatic, but who cares? But by the time I get to the office, I'm like, man, that's in my brain and I can do it on autopilot. Yeah. But that's going to come at the cost of doing things that are a little bit cringy. Yeah. So how bad do you want it? Do you want the business? It's there. And while people are dying on the vine and you don't want to look like a fool, go do it. Go do it. You can take care of your family. You can take care of your people.
Alex, man, I've really enjoyed this last hour with you, and we'll put all your contact, your social, and below in the feed. If there's anything else I can do to help you, please reach out. Let me know, and don't forget to email me about the exactly what to say scripts for the open houses. I'll get that to you, and I'd love to hear your feedback from there.
Will do. Thank you so much for the time, Wally. Really appreciate it.
All right, see you, man. Take care.
So thank you so much for listening today. It means a lot you took time out of your day. I don't take that lightly. Understand very clearly that you're very busy. With that being said, if you want to continue your journey and learn more about 24/7 Mindset, if you're on Facebook, which I'm going to guess you are, then go to 24/7 Mindset on Facebook and join the private community. I do coaching tips on there on a daily basis, but from scripts on there to systems on there, models, and the ability to be able to grow and scale a business while you have a quality of life. Hope to see you there.